Now that Dragon Ball FighterZ Season 3 has come to a close with the release of Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, many fans are wondering if the game is completely finished with its DLC. Well, regardless if the game is done adding new characters or not, I wanted to share my personal wish list for characters that I would like to see in a FighterZ Pass 4, or at the very least, in a sequel. We're gonna talk all about my personal picks right now. How's it going, everyone? InnovativeJdawg here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about some Dragon Ball video game news because if you tuned into the Dragon Ball Games Battle Hour livestream the other night, you already know that there's quite a bit of stuff to talk about. There was a lot of game information that was dropped in that livestream, and one of the most talked about pieces of info was actually the release date of Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta in Dragon Ball FighterZ. He'll be dropping on the 12th, or you might even be playing as him right now, because if you already had FighterZ Pass 3 purchased, you could gain early access to him on the 10th, so that's pretty cool. However, today's topic isn't necessarily about Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, or that cool-ass dramatic finish that he got against Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. Today, I wanted to talk about a potential FighterZ Pass 4 for the game, if the game decides to continue pumping out DLC. Who are some characters that I would personally like to see in the game, and why do I think they'd be a good fit amongst the rest of the roster? That's my major focus of today's discussion, but before we dive deep into my wish list for future DLC fighters, make sure you smash that thumbs up button so that other Dragon Ball fans can see this video as well, and also subscribe to this channel so you can stay up to date on all of my Dragon Ball content, since I make a ton of it. With all that being said, let's get right into it. And as you can tell by the title, I chose to go with 6 DLC characters because if you look at the roster screen, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is smack dab in the middle, making it a pretty symmetrical list. The only way to keep that symmetry without completely changing the roster layout altogether is by adding 3 new characters on each side of the roster. 3 of them would need to be good characters since the left half of the roster is heroic characters, and 3 of them evil because the right side is full of villainous characters. I didn't want to add too many fighters to my wish list because this roster is big enough as it is, but a few characters that I would like to give honorable mentions to are no doubt Bojack, Whis, Toppo, Mr. Satan, and Granola, the titular character of Dragon Ball Super's newest arc. Those are just a few of the characters that I would like to see, but since they're not the focus of this video, let's get right into my number 6 pick. Number 6, Moro. Kicking off the list, we have Moro, the big bad guy of the Galactic Patrol Prisoner Saga. As of now, this story arc is exclusive to the Dragon Ball Super manga and has yet to be adapted into the anime. But considering we've spent a full 2 years getting to know this guy, learning about his secret powers and motivations, I think it's time we finally get him in a Dragon Ball game. Even though he hasn't been adapted into the anime yet, I'm pretty sure 95% of the Dragon Ball community knows who this character is, and he'd be a welcome addition to the roster because plenty of people love him as a character. I know a lot of people who would love to see Moro make his debut in FighterZ because the character has potential for such a unique moveset relying on his magic powers, and he'd have a lot of cool interactions with other characters. The only thing holding Moro back is, like I mentioned, his exclusivity to the manga. Because his story arc hasn't been adapted into the anime as of the recording of this video, I have a feeling that other characters would get preferential treatment and Moro would ultimately get the boot. However, I think it would be incredibly awesome if, and this is purely hypothetical and will never happen, but it would be great if Moro was announced for FighterZ around the same time as the announcement for Dragon Ball Super's second season. I don't know, maybe the two could go hand in hand, and releasing both around the same time would be sort of a cool cross-promotion for this game and the anime. Like I said though, it's highly unlikely that we'll see Moro because of his manga exclusivity, at least for the time being. They'd have to cast a voice actor for Moro before he actually popped up in the series, and it would just take a lot of extra work and time to get his character proper. Besides, you're gonna probably spoil a lot of anime-only fans if the developers were to base Moro in his 7-3 state, as opposed to his first appearance, so that's a whole other predicament. Which version of the character do you use? Either way, he's a tricky character who would have a lot of payoff, since I'd personally love to see him. Also, if I had to pick a Color 2 reference for him, I'd probably have to go with a slight color change that turns his brown fur into that Ultra Instinct silvery tint, referring to the angelic state that he took on after copying Maris' abilities. Number 5, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta. Yep, I know that there's already like 4 versions of Vegeta in this game, but I'd love to see him pop up in his Super Saiyan Blue Evolution form. I know a lot of people would prefer seeing Majin Vegeta instead, but I think it all boils down to moveset potential, and there's a lot more potential for SSJB Evolution in my opinion. Plus, it's the more relevant version of the character at the moment. If we look at Majin Vegeta's playstyle, I think he'd be pretty limited in terms of references and special attacks, since that version of the character lasted for such a short amount of time. It would definitely be possible to make a cool and unique moveset for him though, just take a look at the Budokai and Tenkaichi games, but I'd prefer seeing newer techniques that tie into the manga and the DBS anime. Somewhat similar to Moro, there's a lot of untapped potential for SSJB Evolution Vegeta because of how different the Dragon Ball Super manga is from its anime. I'd love to see this character use moves that may not have necessarily been used in this form, but they haven't already been referenced by other versions of the character. You know, moves like the Gamma Burst Flash, that cool energy punch that he used to destroy Toppo's Hakai, and Spirit Control, primarily Forced Spirit Fission, would be a very interesting technique that could drain an opponent's health bar or ki gauge. Plus, if you were wanting to get Majin Vegeta in the game just because of his final explosion, well, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta did that technique too, so there you go. Like I said, there's a lot of potential for this Vegeta to stand apart from the other versions of the character seen in FighterZ. His current moveset, if based on the manga, has a lot of cool gimmicks that would change his gameplay as a character, making him more strategic and supportive than those versions. Plus, it's always possible that future chapters of the DBS manga could help develop his moveset and make him a more unique inclusion. If I had to give him a Color 2 reference, I'd no doubt do a slight color change, making his blue spandex black, as a reference to the Whis armor that he wore in Fukatsu no F. Number 4, Mercenary Tao / Tao Pai Pai. Surprisingly, not a lot of people want to see Tao Pai Pai, more commonly known by his dub name Mercenary Tao, in FighterZ, and I'm honestly not sure why. Is it because original Dragon Ball is often overlooked by a large chunk of the community? Possibly, or they don't think he'd have a cool moveset, which I beg to differ. There's a ton of cool stuff that this game could do with Tao Pai Pai. I mean, look at Videl, no offense to her, but if this game made her moveset work, it could definitely give another down-to-earth character a chance to shine. I would love to see references to his pressure point attack that killed General Blue, that pink pillar that he uses to get around from place to place, and he could possibly even use the Dark Nimbus that we saw him ride around from time to time. I feel like his gameplay style could be very similar to Tien's, he could even use the Dodon Ray, but Tao Pai Pai's style would just have to be tweaked a little bit to make him stand apart from that character. I just feel like the original Dragon Ball needs more love in Dragon Ball FighterZ, and who better to represent that series than Tao Pai Pai? I mean, DBZ, GT, and Super have all gotten loads of representation, and sure, we know that Piccolo's Color 2 is a reference to the Demon King Piccolo, and GT Goku has that orange gi that he wore as a kid, but I would personally like to see full-on character representation from this series so it isn't completely forgotten, and I would love to see one of my favorite villains from that portion of the series make a return. If I had to pick a Color 2 reference for Tao Pai Pai, I would no doubt go with that purple color scheme used for General Tao in Dragon Ball Movie 3 Mystical Adventure. Or I guess a green, yellow, and red color scheme to match Master Shen would be pretty cool, but I'm kinda leaning more towards General Tao. Number 3, Pikkon, or Paikuhon. Over the past several days on Twitter, there's been a lot of debate over whether or not this character would be a good pick for FighterZ. There's a lot of Dragon Ball fans who absolutely love Pikkon and think he's the coolest thing since sliced bread, or there's people who don't really understand why he's hyped up so much. I mean, I think he's a pretty cool character, he's not my favorite, but there's definitely a lot of mystery behind who he is, how he died, and what he can do with his techniques that makes him enjoyable to watch. In terms of him becoming a newcomer to FighterZ though, I actually think he'd fit in quite nicely amongst other characters gameplay-wise, which a lot of people may disagree on. Plus, he'd be a nice reference to some of the filler that we see throughout the series. Not movies in particular, I'm talking mostly about filler in general. I know for certain that I would love to see a dramatic finish between him and Super Saiyan Goku, where the Super Kaioken is brought into the game and used. I would love that to death, and honestly, that would probably seal my purchase right there and then. But that's besides the point. People don't give Pikkon enough credit with his moveset because they think that he's one-dimensional, or that he doesn't have a lot to offer. But like I said with Tao Pai Pai, if they can make Videl's down-to-earth moveset work, I feel like they could definitely make Pikkon work and potentially expand upon some of his techniques seen throughout the Otherworld Tournament saga and Movie 12. If he were to make a return, a lot of old-school Dragon Ball fans would be really happy, myself included. Also, the Color 2 reference that I would pick for Pikkon is a bit weird, but I'd like to see the black, red, and yellow color scheme of the Grand Kai's uniform to reference his participation in the Otherworld Tournament. Number 2. Omega Shenron. Without a doubt, Omega Shenron has been one of the most requested DLC newcomers for Dragon Ball FighterZ. I'm not sure if it's because people just like the character like I do, or if they just wanted GT to get proper recognition, which I'd say through GT Goku, Baby Vegeta, and most recently Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, that series has definitely gotten a lot of love. But even with those characters, I think a lot of stuff could be done with Omega Shenron that would not only increase that love for GT, but would appease fans who have wanted to see him in the game for such a long time. There is so much stuff that they could do for this character, even when it comes to just the dramatic finishes. Could you imagine Omega Shenron going up against Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, GT Goku, or even Beerus in sort of a what-if type of dramatic finish, since they do that now? There's so much potential for character interactions with this guy, and I would love to see each and every single one of them. Not to mention, he has such a great moveset. Just take a look at Dragon Thunder. He's a destructive and brutal character who would be perfect for players who enjoy playing with tanks. So just based off that, the game could make him an easy-to-play, tough-to-master kind of character. There's also a lot of potential for Omega Shenron's Color 2 reference. He could be given a green color scheme to reference Shenron or Porunga. He could be given a golden and purple color scheme to reference either Nova Shenron or Super Shenron, or he could be red and yellow in reference to Ultimate Shenron. I'd love to see each and every single one of these colors, but if I had to pick one for his Color 2, I'd probably go with gold and purple for Nova Shenron or Super Shenron, but red and yellow to reference Ultimate Shenron would be pretty cool. Number 1. Chi-Chi. Last but not least, I'd absolutely love to see Chi-Chi be one of the newcomers in FighterZ Pass 4. Understandably, not a lot of people want to see her in a video game, but I feel like if she's done right and is created with a lot of love and passion, which FighterZ is full of, she has potential to be one of the most interesting characters in the entire game. The only evidence that I really need is her inclusion in Super Dragon Ball Z, a game that was released in Japanese arcades and on the PlayStation 2. If you've played that game at all, then you know exactly why I think she'd be a great pick for FighterZ. Not only is she another female fighter that would further diversify the roster, and not only is she another Dragon Ball representation, but she'd be able to use cool items like the Flying Nimbus, the Power Pole, the Bancho Fan, and the list just goes on. Not only would she be able to incorporate cool items into her moveset, but she's a great martial artist and she's part of the Sun family. There's a lot of cool stuff that could be referenced or brought about just through her connections to Goku and Gohan. If we really want to get wacky, I think it would be cool to see Icarus, that purple dragon, be brought back and used in some of her moves, even though he'd more so fit in with Gohan, but if she's using Goku's stuff, it would only make sense for her to use stuff from Gohan too. I don't know, I'm just kind of throwing out ideas. Also, I just thought of this. Wouldn't it be cool if Goten was a support character for her? I mean, sort of like how Android 17 is used for Android 18, or Great Saiyaman is used for Videl, that sort of stuff, but it would be Goten for Chi-Chi? That'd be kinda cool. Regardless though, Chi-Chi is a massively underrated character when it comes to Dragon Ball games, and she rarely makes appearances as a playable fighter, so I would love to see her character be brought back into a video game and given that proper love and treatment that she deserves, something that we saw glimpses of way back in Super Dragon Ball Z, and without a doubt, the most logical Color 2 reference for her would be that purple and orange color scheme to reference her appearance in DBZ. It's also possible that they could reference her outfit as a child or some of the other outfits that she's worn, but I think I would like to see the DBZ appearance instead. And there we have it, everyone. That is my wish list for a potential FighterZ Pass 4 for Dragon Ball FighterZ. What did you think of my list? Do you want to see some of those characters, or do you have other newcomers that you would like to see, like maybe Raditz or Dabura? Leave your comments down below and let me see your wish lists for future DLC, and let's have a discussion. Do you even think that we'll get more DLC for FighterZ, or is it time for a sequel? I would love to hear all your thoughts, so please comment, and while you're at it, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button to help push this video into YouTube's algorithm. The more likes this video has, the more likely it is that other Dragon Ball fans will also see this video, and also, it gives me an idea of how much you liked this video. While you're at it, click that subscribe button and turn on post notifications by clicking that bell icon. That way, you'll be able to see whenever I upload a new video. If you're a fan of all things Dragon Ball, you'll definitely want to stick around because I make a ton of content ranging from reviews, discussions, speculation videos, and I even do what if videos from time to time. If all that interests you, you'll definitely want to subscribe. As always though, thank you all so much for watching today's video, I hope you enjoyed. Until my next video though, I will be seeing all of you Dragon Ball fans later. See ya!